Okay folks, welcome to the second part of your graphing exercise and data processing for this osmosis lab. What I'm going to do now is show you how to do a graph that will help you do a good analysis. So what I've done here is I've just set up a little table. This doesn't need to go into your main document, just to make things easier, of the different concentrations of glucose and then the mean percentage changes in mass. So draw a graph, and the first thing we're going to do is highlight all of this, and we're going to go up to Insert, and here we're going to draw a scatter graph. Do not get confused and do a line graph. It has to be a scatter. We don't join the points. So you should get something looking like this. Now at the moment it's not a great graph, but we can do some very quick and easy changes to it to help it become more useful for us, and also to give you the marks that you need to get for your communication, for your presentation sections. So we're going to mostly be working here with chart design, and most of the things we'll need are actually over here. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that we have our axes title. So we're going to go down here, primary horizontal, double click, and then this is going to be our concentration of whatever solution you used. I used glucose solution, and that was in percent. I'm then going to go back up here, and this time I'm going to add a vertical title. Double click or highlight, and then this is going to be my mean percentage. Did I spell that right? I think so. Change in mass, and again, don't forget your units. And this title is dreadful. Remember, a good title should have the independent and the dependent variable. Graph showing the mean percentage change in mass for, and let's say that I use potatoes, so lamb tuberosum in different concentrations of glucose solution. Okay, I'm going to highlight that and make it nice and bold so we can tell that it is a title. No, what's going on here? Okay, I even underline it. Feeling frisky. Okay, so that looks pretty good, but there's still things we can do to make it even better. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change these. If I click on one, all of them should highlight. Okay, if you double click, you'll find only one. So make sure that they're all highlighted. Okay, so I'm going to go here and I'm going to choose marker. I don't like this marker. It's not specific enough. So I'm going to change it by going to marker, marker options, built in, and then we always use a little plus sign. As much as I love you giving me kisses, no kisses please, we're going to use a plus sign. I've got terrible eyesight, so I'm going to go for a size 12 just so I can see it nice and clear. I'm also going to make it red because that's some colour that stands out for me. And I'm going to make the line just a wee bit thicker, just so it's easier to see. Okay, I'm pretty happy with those points now. So the next step is I'm going to put in some more grid lines, because eventually I need to use my graph to find the isotonic point. And the more grid lines I have, the better the easier it's going to be for me to interpret my graph. So again, chart design, I'm going to come up here, and this time I'm going to go down to grid lines. At the moment, the major horizontal and vertical grid lines are marked, but I also want the minor ones. So all I need to do is click on those, and goodness gracious, it's starting to look like a proper graph. Great. Now the only thing that's missing is a trend line, because that is going to tell me what the isotonic point is, the point at which it crosses 0, where there's no percentage change in mass. That means the solution is isotonic to the cells, and vice versa. So I'm going to go to trend line, and I'm going to go to more trend line options. Now, why am I going to go to more trend line options? Because if you do your research well, you'll see that osmosis is not a linear trend line. It's actually a curve of best fit, not a line of best fit. This isn't the right shape though, so we're going to push that up to 3. And if you're feeling like you really want to go for those higher grades, you can actually even display the equation of the line. It's a polynomial, so it's going to be a function, and the r² value. Now, this is an interesting value. All this tells you is that there's a correlation between the x and the y variables and how strong the correlation is. So the closer it is to 1, the stronger the correlation. Okay, so I've got those here, and you can see my correlation is 1 on the dot, which means that it's very strong. And then finally, what point is isotonic? Well, let's zoom in and have a wee look at this graph. And you can see here, this is where my line is crossing the x-axis. I would see that's maybe about 2.1, 3. So the concentration of glucose that's isotonic is 2.13. I've managed to read that. I can take this graph, cut it, and paste it into my Google Doc. My data processing is complete.